Man, what exactly are you supposed to do when the ops are out here committing war crimes?
Start with the mass shooting in River North.
Yeah, the mass shooting in River North and another one that wounded 4 people on the city's south side.
Cowardice act of violence.
No bat, I'm not sure what's crazier. A high-profile rapper's release party turning into a mass shooting event, or the fact that major label rappers saw that happen and had to run to IG Live to diss in less than a business day.
Caught another one. If you talk about add him down, put his ass in the wood too. Hey, what? We gotta go get like 5 red lighters real quick.
Summer has officially started in Chicago, and it's pretty much looking like it's gonna be the purge, with an all-out gang war engulfing the city.
I've been having look. Yeah.
Just last night, a shooting between rival gangs with a huge footprint within the music scene made national news when multiple cars fired on an unsuspecting crowd, resulting in a mass casualty event in the middle of downtown Chicago. This wasn't deep in the South Side trenches where cops are afraid to go. This was done in one of the richest neighborhoods in the city and was literally captured in 4K. It's safe to say that this is one of the craziest shootings I've ever seen footage coming from, and it's looking like a Boys in the Hood movie scene the way that it went down. But this is very real life, and several people lost loved ones that they'll never be able to get back. While the exact people responsible have yet to be determined by police, trails of disses and deaths with connections to some of the biggest rappers in the city like YFG Fatso, Chucky, Wackem, Bloodhound, Q50, and G Herbo's affiliates has many pointing to this shooting being a crazy retaliation for a death that happened just 24 hours ago, and Mello Buckzz having her release party at the absolute wrong place at the wrong time. So today we gotta get into this wild and unfortunate shooting and the beef that led up to this and everything that happened within the hours leading up to this right now, just hours before America's 249th birthday. But before we do, I'm gonna need you to do something for me, man. Y'all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. We on the road to 100K subs, man. We trying to get to this on phone. And make sure you check out the new merch we just dropped in the description. And join to be a member if you want your brand or music featured in any of these videos as an ad. So let's get into this situation right now with chapter 1. The vast majority of Americans are probably desensitized right now to the crazy violence that happens in the city of Chicago. The cops don't seem to care as long as it's not in the busy parts of the city, and the news covers it without giving a face to the victims and those caught within the crazy backdrop of gang violence. Chicago as a whole has the most gangs out of any city in America, so it's no surprise that a lot of people within the music world are affiliated or have someone they know affiliated. This crazy web of gang ties and alliances can literally make anyone a target, but this time around, the shooting ended up targeting 19 people and killing 4 in just a matter of seconds. However, this type of shit just doesn't happen overnight. It's usually a never-ending cycle of givebacks and retaliation from rival sets till the crimes just get so crazy that the cops have to do something about it or they're gonna be out here looking crazy themselves. Despite the dangers of being associated with this shooting in any way, shape, or form, YFG Fatso went right on IG Live this morning, literally trolling the whole shooting situation in the most crass way possible. Many would probably wonder how you even get this desensitized to laugh about what was going on, but it makes sense when you see the incidents which led up to this, which we'll get into right now. In order to understand this shit though, you gotta understand the network of gangs within the South Side area, because being around any of these, you're guaranteed to be putting a target on your back, especially after this incident. YFG Fatso is a rising rapper signed to Lil Durk's OTF, and at the age of only 17 is one of the biggest artists in the city of Chicago. He's been slowly getting mainstream success outside of the city, especially after signing with Durk, but has been rapping for a minute now. He blew up like several years back at like 12, 13 years old when he dropped a song called Go Go. Being in the streets at a young age, him and his clique seem to be tied in with a lot of different groups within the city, which means you could easily be brought into beefs for literally no reason. They're super tied in with a mostly GD set called 9-5 Mob. 9-5 Mob is located in the 95th and Wentworth area of Princeton Park. They infamously beef with 079 Bloodhounds, the gang most known for the crazy homicidal maniac shooter Bloodhound Lil Jeff, and the other face of Chicago drill music right now, Bloodhound Q50. At the same time, Q50 is super tied in with members of NLMB, most known for being where G Herbo and Bibby are from. They have extremely deep ties due to the fact that Bibby signed him and Bloodhound Vert. Another rapper named Chucky Wackem, who's also huge in the city, who's literally signed to the same label as YFG Fatso, has close ties to NLMB, which also pretty much draws a line in the sand between two different factions. While YFG Fatso and members of Bloodhounds like Q50 and Vert have traded shots for years now, it seems like two particular incidents have sparked a domino effect that resulted in disses that turned to shootings. The death of Boogie from 9-5 Mob and the death of Lil Scoom, which we'll get into in the next chapter, chapter 2. If you're a fan of Bloodhound Q50, then you definitely have heard about him talking and claiming the work of Boogie. Boogie was a beloved 095 member that unfortunately was gunned down in a chaotic scene in broad daylight that literally was so crazy it forced the whole McDonald's to shut down. Imagine being such a danger to the community that your actions literally close a whole McDonald's and you brag about it constantly, bruh. If you listen to Bloodhound Q50's music, this is like the #1 scenario that this dude be talking about on the regular. I'm pretty sure I've seen it in multiple songs. Bro has an IG live asking his ops why they can't go to their friendly neighborhood McDonald's anymore. Has songs and IG videos where he references McDonald's. It's one of the pillars of Q50's personality at this point, and it all dates back to a broad daylight shooting at an infamous McDonald's on the south side of Chicago.
Young man that got shot, he went running back into McDonald's, and a CTA bus driver, a bus operator, caught him as he fell. One ran around the back by the Maxwell Street hot dog stand, and he succumbed to his injuries. He fell.
Thursday night, crews boarding up the windows of this McDonald's on 95th Street, just off the Dan Ryan, where police say a woman and 2 men were shot.
Apparently a car pulled up with an individual who opened and shot at least 29 shell casings.
Chicago. One of the most mentioned beefs that Bloodhounds have is primarily with the GD set of 095 Mob. And the story behind this is something I've never really seen before, you know? Apparently rumors basically pin 95 Mob stealing something from the Bloodhounds, but it's like most beefs in the Chicago, it doesn't really matter how things started, it just matters how things escalate. And escalate they did, bruh. Well, one day on November 10th, 2022, an OG from the 095 Mob named Rodney Stone, who also went by Boogie, was visiting a McDonald's with his mother and brother on 95th Street. A quick family outing for some burgers quickly escalated into a broad daylight shooting when a white Infiniti pulled up in the parking lot and 2 men began shooting at the family. The brother was shot in the back, but he survived when he ran inside and fell into security's arms. The mother was shot in the arm, but she also survived. However, Boogie was not very lucky because when the shooters came, he tripped and fell, and they switched him multiple times as he was the intended target. He would later die at the scene. This shooting was so brazen that not long after this, the McDonald's would board up its windows and close for good, as this was one of several violent incidents at this restaurant, with multiple others happening over time. Like apparently Lil J got shot in the ass there while ordering one of the most dangerous McDonald's in the city. Obviously though, being so tight with 095 Mob, YFG Fatso is already going to have issues with Q50 and Vert and anyone associated with them, and NLMB, and this led to him having major problems with another rapper named Lil Scoom, which we'll get into in chapter 3, the death of Lil Scoom. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was like the King Von for the younger generation of Chicago YNs. He and Q50 had very close ties with Lil Scoom, a rapper from the same area who was apparently signed to Bibby. But unfortunately, he was to lose his life just weeks after Bloodhound Lil Jeff in an eerie setup that still has gone unsolved. While he was alive though, Scoom would drop a whole diss track towards YFG Fatso that Bloodhound Lil Jeff would be seen rapping on in an IG live. So it's safe to say they had major issues. And keep in mind that the Bloodhound members were signed to NLMB. But tragedy again would strike on the night of July 8th, 2024. Almost a year ago, the night of July 8, 2024.
Breaking news, we've learned a teenager has died and another is hurt after a shooting in Chatham. It happened around midnight, right near 89th and Langley. Police are telling us the 2 teens got into an argument with someone who shot both of them. The 18-year-old died at the hospital. The 16-year-old is expected to recover.
That night, Lil Scoom and an NLMB member by the name of Will were in the 700 block of East 89th Place. Apparently, a female had told him to slide. Well, there's video surveillance showing a nervous Scoom talking to a woman, essentially telling him to wait outside her house. It was at this point a tinted SUV would pull up on the group, causing Scoom to run. A group then got out of the car, chased him down, killing him on the 700 block of East 89th Place. Police were apparently close by and raced to the area where they were apparently met with gunfire. In that time, the car was able to pull back up, pick up the shooters, and they apparently have gotten away with 0 trace. This death pretty much shocked the drill world, especially since ring camera footage came out with a girl seemingly setting up Scoom, and it would go viral. However, not long after his death, a set of 4 corner hustlers named Risky Road from 104 in Maryland would be trolling his death to the fullest, which would make people believe they had something to do with it, especially since Scoom had previously trolled them about taking out one of their members shortly before their passing. In the months after Scoom's death though, YFG Fatso would be seen with Risky Road, that four corner hustler group, filming music videos as a seemingly Scoom diss. And on top of that, NLMB, because another NLMB member was also shot and survived when Scoom died. This many groups ready to murk each other on sight is just a disaster waiting to happen. And tragedy would almost strike again, with Risky Road members almost taking out Bloodhound Q50 allegedly, and popular YouTuber Brandon Buckingham last year in another potential mass shooting, which we'll get into in chapter 4. 4 weeks after the YBC duel murder, Brandon Buckingham was reportedly on his next mission to film Bloodhound Q50, Vert, Skrilla, and others out in Chicago, as they were probably making the biggest motion of that time. Brandon had been seen doing drugs with Q50 just a couple days before the incident in question, so it's safe to say he was pretty tied in with the Bloodhounds, while Skrilla was also out there too. The thing about the Chicago shit, which we've gone over time and time again, I guess people let their guard down when they're in other areas of the city, because at 2 a.m. in the Northwest Chicago studio, a mass shooting would go down that would affect Buckingham forever.
A lot of what happened remains under investigation, but this does appear to have been an ambush of some sort. The owner of the building across the street telling ABC7 that his surveillance video shows the vehicle with the shooters parking in his lot about 40 minutes before a group of 5 or 6 hooded men jumped out and opened fire.
We have the person from Knox being transported to Masonic with the grave wound to the neck.
Detectives were still on the scene early this afternoon as they continued to investigate an overnight shooting that left 4 men injured as they walked down the sidewalk in front of Fort Knox Studios in the Old Irving Park neighborhood around 2:30 a.m.
And all of a sudden I woke up and heard gunshots, and it sounded like automatic machine guns or something going back and forth.
And while officially police say they're still investigating the circumstances, overnight scanner traffic relayed what appeared to be a first-hand account from one of the injured.
All we have is that this gentleman said that he was shooting a rap video. He's a videographer. He walked out and he heard they shot about 30 to 40 shots. He doesn't know the make of the model, doesn't know any of that. He said they went the length of the street and were just shooting and he caught one in the neck.
According to the owner of the music studio, while the building was already closed at that time, one of his long-term tenants with overnight access was using one of the many recording studios inside at the time of the incident. The injured appeared to have been among that tenant's guests, but he says he does not know who they were or what exactly they were doing. Police say the victims are 4 men.
At around 2:45 a.m., Brendan was with a videographer and apparently members of the Bloodhounds and possibly Skrilla. There was many rumors that that videographer was AMF Visuals, who's the main person that shoots Bloodhound Lil Jeff, Q50, all of them. Although they haven't said much, their Instagram stories later would seem to confirm that they were somewhat involved, which we'll get into later. While arriving to the studio, it seems that at least according to Brandon, they were being stalked. He pretty much gave a large amount of details in his explanation. As you know, I've been silent online, so I wanted to let y'all know what's been going on with me. I have been in the midst of 2 different shootings in the past 2 months, the most recent of which 6 gunmen stalked us, waited for us to leave the studio, and emptied over 60 rounds at us at close range, one of which hit my cameraman in his neck, coming very close to killing him. Get back would come quickly, as Q50 and Skrilla would pretty much diss someone close to Risky Road, who apparently got murked in retaliation, named CEO Wackem. CEO Wackem would apparently get murked while doing a drill just shortly after. So as you can tell, this constant cycle of violence almost always involves someone close to YFG Fatso. The last 48 hours, another incident would go down just a couple hours before the mass shooting that many point to as the whole reason why the shooting went down, which we'll get into in chapter 5. After the Brandon Buckingham shootout, there was not really any notable rappers who were involved in shootings for mad long. While all sides were continuing to diss over and over, members of Bloodbath, a clique where rapper Chucky is from, will be dissing 095 Mob on the regular. This apparently took a member named Drills the wrong way, and he apparently went to slide about it in Bloodbath territory, and he would become another victim to get gunned down while trying to go on a drill, and members of Bloodbath would go crazy literally dissing him.
Why is your homie trying to push up on us doing rookie shit? Don't push up on us if you're wrong for now.
Fuck drills, nigga. Oh, bro, fucking see you, gang.
Talking all types of crazy about the fact that he pushed up on them on some rookie shit and got gunned down. But this is like a constant thing that happens. You see Bloodhound Lil Jeff got killed doing that. CEO Wackem got killed doing that. And now we got Drills who apparently got killed with that. Keep in mind though that NLMB has a lot of different ops that they diss on the regular, which makes it even harder to know who they exactly is causing these issues. But this mass shooting that occurred last night, happening a mere 24 hours that the Bloodbath members were on live trolling the dead ridiculously hard, kind of like lines up. And the ultimate tragedy was Strike just last night at the release party for Mello Buckzz, which we'll get into in the final chapter, chapter 6. I'm not sure if NLMB Mello Buckzz was aware of the ongoing situation with groups tied to her, but it apparently didn't stop her from wanting to do a release party at a spot called Artist Lounge in the River North area of the city at like 11 p.m. last night. This setting was almost identical to how King Von's homie Munna Duke was caught lacking like last month. At the spot, it seemed like a large group of people were just posted outside smoking, lacking, because they're in a safe area of the city known for bars and dispensaries. However, a dark car would be seen lurking on CCTV footage, driving back and forth that nobody noticed. And this would be the downfall of 4 people who were there and over 19 people who were injured.
We start with new information on the deadly River North mass shooting. The gunman targeted people as they stood outside the Artist Lounge, where an album release party had just wrapped up for Chicago rapper Mello Buckzz. We have live team coverage on the River North mass shooting, starting with CBS News Chicago investigator Tara Molina, who has the latest on the investigation. Tara.
Erica, police have confirmed this shooting that left 2 men and 2 women in their 20s dead was not random. This was a targeted shooting. I asked the Chicago police superintendent about concerns that this incident was gang-related, with corresponding concerns about retaliation.
Take a look at your screen. This new video shows the moment the car drove up to Artist Lounge at Chicago and Franklin, the people inside firing guns. You can actually see the flashes of light from the gunfire. We've blurred the images of the victims. The calls for help started coming in around 11, with 18 people shot, 4 of them killed.
Hey, squad, we need more ambulance out here. We don't have nearly enough.
The venue targeted, according to police. We know the crowd was leaving the album release party for Chicago-born rapper Mello Buckzz. Her new album, Hollyhood. She confirmed on social media many of the people hurt were her friends.
This wasn't some random shooting where someone just decided that they were going to shoot at this particular group of people.
Chicago police said around 11 p.m., a dark vehicle drove past the building in the 300 block of West Chicago Avenue, where 3 people from inside fired shots into a crowd of people standing on the sidewalk. The crowd was there to just leave Artist Lounge following an album release for Mello Buckzz. Multiple people died, and thankfully, more people didn't die because an SUV was blocking all this, but a bunch of people died because it just was 3 people open firing on a giant crowd. Her boyfriend literally died, and her best friend literally died, along with 2 other people, and a Glow Gang NLMB member literally got shot in the stomach, man. It was a crazy situation. The victims injured in this shooting ranged from 21 to 32 years old. Of the injured, 2 were taken to Illinois' Masonic Hospital, 2 were taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, 3 were taken to Stroger Hospital, and 6 were taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital in conditions ranging from good to critical. 4 of the injured are in serious critical condition. 2 men who were shot were taken to Stroger Hospital, where they pronounced dead. The Cook County Medical Examiner has identified them as 25-year-old Leon Andrew Henry, 23-year-old Devontae Tara Williamson, 26-year-old woman, and a 27-year-old woman, who were both shot in the chest and taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where they died. Honestly, this is a crazy situation, bruh. It hits super close to home too, because I literally be out in these areas. Like, I literally be in that part of Chicago. Like, that's partly like my home type area. So it's like, I mean, it's not surprising to see that type of shit go down, but it definitely has people wondering, like, bruh, like, what is really going on in the city that has people crashing out like this? Keep in mind the aftermath was definitely not so good. YFG Fatso went on to troll, literally like making fun of everything that went there, and people were basically saying like, yo, your time is coming if you do this type of stuff. And I really hope not, because bro's still young and he still got his career ahead of them, and there's a whole bunch of other people too that have their careers ahead of them, like Chucky and stuff like that. But like, bruh, y'all really gotta, this is a sign that y'all gotta change your life around, because this shit is not this is not the wave. Like, this is literally gonna end up at two things: jail or dead. But at the end of the day, I mean, they're already probably too far gone. This is the life that you live, you come up in. This is just normalized to you. So it's gonna be interesting to see. If I were to guess though, I'm guessing that they're gonna probably find who did this. I mean, she had been literally talking about her release party for literally like weeks leading up to this, which could have allowed someone to have time to get a car to go murk, you know, just like a stolen car that could have been from anywhere, which is more than likely the case. Like, it could have been plotted out in advance, because this shit seemed like they kind of knew what they were doing. But, you know, it's caught on CCTV, so I wouldn't be surprised. Like, look at what happened with the O Block 5 or 6 or however many people with FBG Duck. You know, it's the same type of situation. In a nice area, they're definitely going to track you back as far as you can go in the car. Like, they're not going to let this go. You know, they let those other situations that I talk about go because they're in areas where there's not a lot of CCTV footage, or there may not be in the best areas, but they eventually are probably going to find who did this shit. So I would not be claiming anything. I wouldn't even be talking about this shit. Could be a distraction that bro's talking about this just because this is us, but I probably wouldn't be claiming any of this because, you know, the feds probably going to get involved, because this was a mass shooting. This made like global news. It was just another day in America. Literally the day before the 4th of July, which is crazy, but this is like the most American way to spend that weekend. So, hey man, if you're in the Chicago area, definitely be careful. I would probably stay inside if I were you, because it's literally wild out here, you know. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think about this whole situation. Real say shit. You already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and make sure you join to be a member, and check out the merch link in the description at Stay Safe.